Okay, we're going to have a look at subtracting fractions. If you've already watched my video on adding fractions, it follows very similar pattern. All you're going to do, first of all, is find a common denominator. In order to find common denominator, you need to be confident with your lowest common multiple, so it may be worth looking up a video on that if you're unsure. You also need to be able to maintain the equivalence of the fraction, so looking up equivalent fraction video if you're unsure of that also may be helpful. Okay, once you've found the common denominator, you express both the fractions or all the fractions with the same denominator. All you then do is you subtract the numerators. Okay, so this is pretty much exactly the same as when you're doing addition, but instead of adding the numerators, you subtract the numerators. Okay, so let's start off with this example. We're going to have 5 thirds take away 5 sixths. Okay, so first of all, we want to make the denominators the same. So we want to look for the lowest common multiple of 3 and 6. Well, 6 is in the 3 times table, so we can express both of these in terms of 6. So in order to get this 3 to become a 6, you're timesing it by 2. We need to do the same to the top as we do to the bottom. So 5 times 2 gives you 10. So that means 5 fifths is the same as 10 sixths. Now we need to take away this number and make sure we've got the denominator the same. So that's going to be 5 over 6. If that number did not have the same denominator, then we'd have to manipulate both to have the same. We'll do that in the next example. So I've made it so they've got a common denominator. Now all I have to do is the subtraction. So effectively what we're doing is 10 take away 5 over 6. Okay, so the denominator stays the same and we just take away, do the subtraction of the numerators, which would give us, well, 10 take away 5 is 5 over 6. Okay, let's have a look at another problem. Let's have 9 halves subtract 16 ninths. Okay, now we need to find the lowest common multiple of 2 and 9. Well, 9 doesn't have any 2's in it. Okay, so we're just going to have to times this whole fraction by 2 and this whole fraction by 9 in order to work out what the lowest common multiple is. So the lowest common multiple is going to be 18. So if you can express the first number as something over 18, subtract something else over 18. Right, so to get this fraction to be over 18, we're going to times the bottom by 9. So 9 times 2. So we're going to have to times 9 by 9, which is 81, to get our numerator. Okay, so these two fractions, 9 halves and 81 over 18, are equivalent. Next up, how do we get from 9 to 18? Well, we times that by 2, so we've got to times the top by 2. So 16 times 2 is 32. So to work this one out, you're going to have to do, it's going to be over 18, and you're going to do 81 take away 32. Do a little bit of side working to make sure you don't make a mistake. (49 over 18). 49 is 7 times 7. 18 is 2 times 3 times 3. So they don't share any common factors. So that is as simple as you can write it, okay? So in its essence, subtracting is pretty much exactly the same as addition. You just have to subtract your numerators instead of add your numerators. We'll have one more example. Let's do 9 over 16 take away 13 over 8. Okay, so we've got to make these denominators the same. We're looking at 16 and 8. Okay, what's the lowest common multiple? Well, 16 is in the 8 times table, so much like this top one, we could just manipulate one of the fractions so it has the same denominator as the other. So they're both going to be over 16, so that means this first one is going to remain 9 sixteenths. Now to get this second fraction over 16 instead of over 8, you're going to have to times them both by 2. So this is going to be equal to 26 over 16. Okay, so what we're going to work out here is we're going to do 9, take away 26 over 16. So let's do a little bit of side working, okay? Now, we've got 26 we're taking away from 9. This number is obviously bigger than this number, so we're going to end up with a negative answer. Okay, that's fine. We can have negative fractions. Negative fractions exist. So what's that going to be? So if we'd had started at 9, we take away 9, we'd end up at 0. How many more have we got to take away to make sure that we've taken away 26? Well, 26 is 9 plus 17, so we're going to take away 17 more. So this is going to be the same as negative 17 over 16.